And we're back. Hey, look, it's already there too.
Yay.
So
Things work. Science.
Speaking of science, this week's theme is science and space and things that blow each other up. So this was from a successful Kickstarter from not too long ago. We're going to be getting one of the creators in the call with us. So let me just set that up with Arthur here, and we'll see what we see. I love the soundtrack.
Very
It was made specifically for the game.
very deep house.
Wait, this
Hello.
is awesome too. Hello, Arthur.
Can you hear us?
Possibly. Might be fixing a mic. Might be fixing a headphone.
Hey Nick, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Oh, sweet.
Check 1, check 2, check.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Oh, we're getting a bit of an echo.
Do you have headphones?
Oh, wait. Do I have something turned on?
Is that us?
Da-na-na-na-na. Oh, I'm not getting it anymore. Oh, if you can hear us still, Arthur, then that's perfect.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
everything's set up. I think I was on speakers for a second there, but I've got my headphones set up now.
That makes sense.
Perfect. All right.
So, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. We're Nick and Nick, so the average gamer and might be giant, or call me giant.
Well, I might be giant, but you can call me giant.
And I was just telling our audience that we actually featured you guys in the weekly Indie Game Magazine Kickstarter show when you guys were doing your Kickstarter, and it's been successful now. I know you guys just had the beta go out, and I wanted to have a chat and talk about Reassembly. So before we start playing, would you mind giving us like a quick synopsis of the game?
Sure. Yeah. It's a spaceship building game. It's all about like kind of creatively building spaceships out of little pieces, kind of Lego mentality, and then you fly your spaceship around in this big procedurally generated active world and blow up other spaceships block by block.
Surprisingly enough, I was actually watching that.
Oh, were you?
IGM, yes, and I remember that, and I distinctly remember. Yep.
I really
remember
loved
your face on the Kickstarter video. Okay.
One of my favorite ideas was your focus on this game. At least in the Kickstarter, you guys were saying the focus on the game is really about the creativity that comes from the random. When I love one of the quotes. Oh, what's that?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I just was trying to get my wife to stop streaming Netflix so that the video would stop lagging. I forgot that I'm not wearing a headset.
You can watch Fresh Prince later. Come on.
Oh man, you know they just added another season.
Shut up, man. We're only on like episode 5 of the first season.
Okay. So one of my favorite quotes from the Kickstarter that you guys said was that one of the best things about your game is that a lot of times you'll try to make something functional and it'll turn out to be beautiful. And sometimes you'll try to make something beautiful and it'll turn out to be functional. And I just loved how positive that statement was. So, we're going to get in here.
And if I were to make something, it would be a giant blob and just spin in circles doing nothing. That's what I would make. I would make a blob that would just spin in circles and do nothing.
There. That's going to be our name.
Average gamer becomes.
It's perfect, right?
It's way too long, man. Just call it the SS Gamer Giant.
The SS Gamer Giant.
Is that what they do for the future ships? They name them after actual like.
What's the Canadian one?
What?
What's the Canadian one?
CS? I don't know.
Oh, I can't remember. We had it for our Guns of Icarus episode. Oh well. Anyway,
HMS?
so that's our name.
It'll be the HMS Pinafore.
Yes, we're gonna start building your characters. So, another one of the neat things about this game is that there are technically no textures or very little textures, if I'm not mistaken.
It's textureless.
It's textureless. That's true. Actually, it generates lots of textures while you're playing it to do things like bloom, but there are no static textures.
Cool. It's cool. Okay, mouse wheel zoom camera.
Yeah, it's definitely an engineer game.
Yes.
The funny thing is that, like, the way that you zoom out and you see all what's going on, you potentially could have made this like a microbial game, a microscopic style game as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
I hear a lot of comparisons to like Spore, which has this similar kind of top-down thing, building things, sharing the things you build. The initial stage of Spore is like micro though. You're just like a little what are they called? Bacteria.
That being said, what was really the inspiration behind? Like, what made you guys say want to do? Oh, I want to do a building game in space. That's awesome.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I spent my whole childhood basically building spaceships out of Legos, and it was always spaceships for some reason. So that's probably the main
big,
thing.
Like,
Space
giant,
Legos.
like 8,000 piece spaceship that weighed 15 pounds.
I have no problems with that. Although people know that. Our last guest that we just finished chatting with was another awesome space game. So I'm also a fan of the Lego spaceships.
Lego space thing. I saw this Project Nimbus, right, with the mechs.
Yep.
It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was quite neat. Okay, so I get to play. I get to play and build things. I'm really excited, Giant.
I played a few other like top-down spaceship games when I especially one called Escape Velocity, which is pretty old at this point, but I liked that a lot. It was pretty influential, I think.
We've actually had quite a few on. Our first guest ever was a game called Approaching Infinity.
Yeah.
And then we've had another one called Transcendence that's been on twice now.
Yeah, that was last week. Oh, by the way, speaking of eyeball, I looked back at our when we first did that. It turns out that it was in February. I thought it was later than that. So we're coming up on our first or 1 year. In a couple months.
1 year of Average Giants. That's crazy. So, I'm looking at the different pieces and that kind of thing. What are the differences between the weapons? Or, like, what is the container used for?
Actually, the better question is, what are the integral pieces?
So the container stores... so basically, at the very top, you can, on the right, there are a bunch of hull blocks, and they're kind of gray. And those are good to start with. You can they're like free. They don't use resources, and you can just like kind of build shapes out of them, and like kind of build the hull of your ship.
Okay.
So we did play one. We played a couple games.
And once you have a shape you like, you can add weapons and thrusters.
Cool.
What was that other game we played where it was also you built your own ship, but you had to make sure you had to have a specific item in it. It wasn't. What was that game?
Oh, it was like Kerbal Space Program for building the ship, but it was
Kerbal.
Oh, and you could target the specific parts. I can't remember.
I'm just wondering, like, so with this when you're building your ship, you don't actually need like any specific part for it to be functional. You can just sort of like smoosh things together and add guns.
Yeah, you need the core block. Where did it go somewhere?
Oh yeah, I see it.
There's one block that's like the core, and you need that. Everything just gets attached to that. But other than that, you don't need anything. You probably want at least one thruster, probably several.
Yep.
Or you won't really be able to maneuver.
Let's discard this one, and then we'll try this.
Can you grab any ship that's floating around, or is it you start with a specific template?
You need to pan the camera over. You can use WASD.
Oh, okay.
Careful. Oops.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I did it the other way. There's about probably a 10 to 30 second lag between the actual video and us chatting, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So now,
I see. Yeah, it's a problem with Twitch too.
Yeah, exactly. There's less of it on Hitbox, but it's impossible to get rid of it with our current website
Yeah,
choices.
we've actually tried talking about how we could potentially do our show with having real time with the developer, and the most likely scenario would be us actually doing a screen share with Skype. But we know that a lot of the devs don't have the internet for that kind of thing, which is understandable.
No. So originally, I was thinking of making the Satellite of Love.
Satellite of Love?
It's from Mystery Science Theater.
You mean the bone?
Yeah.
Okay.
But maybe I'll try something else.
You want the flying bone?
I like the flying bone.
So with the game and the ability to make all the ships, do you ever get to experience other people's ships in the game? Other people's creations?
Oh, yeah.
So the idea is that like building stuff, it's kind of like it's supposed to be kind of freeform like Legos, right? But there's also kind of a almost like puzzle-like aspect where you try to fit all the blocks that you want in the right way and have it all work.
Right.
Like there's a bunch of different parameters that are important. Like what are they? There's a lot of stats, right? It can be a little overwhelming at first. But like one of the most interesting stats is the like how long it takes the block to regrow. So like when your ship gets damaged, the blocks get destroyed, but then they kind of rebuild.
Oh.
As with like little nanites or something, fairly quickly. But like something complicated like that autocannon you have on the front of your ship takes a long time to regrow, whereas the hull blocks regrow really fast. So if you build like some people tend to build like they just get their core and they just like surround it with giant guns and they don't use any hull blocks. But then if their ship gets damaged, it won't regrow for a long time.
Oh, interesting.
So it's kind of interesting to like you can place like almost like a skeleton of hull blocks, and then it'll cause your whole ship to regrow really fast.
Is this all single player, or is there multiplayer in this?
It's pretty much single player, but there's the ship sharing thing. So it's single player in that it's not. There's no like synchronous multiplayer, but you can upload your ship. There's these wormholes in the world, and if you fly into the wormhole, your ship, all the ships you've designed will get uploaded to a server, and then they get downloaded to other people's games. And you can find them, and there's these like red triangles on the minimap, and you can go find them, and they have a bunch of ships that are on your team, or not, excuse me, ships that were designed by other people, and you can go fight their fleet.
I thought you'd like this one.
Well, I don't know why you're saying that.
So I know you guys, obviously, you're building it right now. You have this successful Kickstarter, and what's next? What platforms have you guys currently have planned? What price points do you guys currently have planned for when the game's finished? Like, what's the update, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah. There's a ton of stuff that we're working on right now because, the Kickstarter just got funded. The beta just went out. The game is like it has the sort of vestiges of all of the features we want in the final version, but there's a huge amount of work to go into it until the final release. So right now the game is on Steam Early Access. It just came out last week, and it's $30 on Early Access. But once it gets released, it'll only be $15.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Pending launch discounts and so on. So the main thing I'm working on right now is just like fixing all the bugs, because suddenly when I tell the Kickstarter backers how much people bought it on Steam, and there are like about 100 times more people playing it now than have been playing it in the past. So they found a lot of bugs. I'm trying to fix them really fast. But after that, there's a whole bunch of new features. Still kind of trying to figure out which ones are most exciting. But I want to have some kind of interesting notification system with the ship sharing feature, so that like right now you can upload your ship and other people can fight your ships and your fleets, but there's not really any way to tell like what happened. I want to have it set up so that if someone like blows up your awesome capitalist ship, you get like a little notification somehow.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And you can tell like what's happening in the other side of the wormhole. Definitely want to add some new block types. Sorry, go on.
So based on what you were just saying about how you're trying to get the bugs all sorted out, we always have the one question that we ask the majority of our developers. What's been the most hilarious bug that you've encountered? Or glitch?
Oh, there have been tons. Yeah, there have been tons of awesome ones. It's super interesting. Like, it's super fun. Sometimes I get these awesome bugs and I just don't want to even remove it because it's so cool. But it kind of breaks the game. So we had this one. I had this one awesome bug where like you could copy the core. So like there's this one core block, right, and that kind of defines your ship. But like if you did like just the right thing in the editor, you could copy it and you can have like a whole bunch of them. And what would happen would be that like all the cores would start like trying to grow the ship around each core. So like your ship would like kind of split into like a million ships, and each core would create its own ship, and then each ship it was creating had like a bunch of cores, so they would all split, and it created this like space cancer. It was like this gray goo out of science fiction, and it would just like completely take over the map and lag the game so that it was unplayable in a few minutes. But it was super cool.
Yeah, that's really neat.
You should try maybe finding it and getting a video of it or something just for fun.
Oh no! I gotta get out of here. Neat. So I got nearly killed, and how quickly my ship repairs itself. That's
so.
cool.
Besides the bugs, what's been the most difficult thing to overcome while making the game?
Just like it's just such a complex game. I think like just trying to figure everything out and make it kind of work.
Is that something you anticipated? Because it seems like a game that is meant to be very simple, but I'm just wondering if it was one of those instances where you're like, oh, this game's going to be a lot of fun to make, and then you get into the project, and it's like, oh, wow, I didn't think of all this, and this.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've actually accomplished a lot more than I thought I would when I started. Like, I started working this game about 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, I want to build this game, but it's way too complicated, so it would never work. And then I just kind of kept building it, and eventually I pretty much it implemented most of the complexity that I wanted to get in there. And it's not intended to be a complicated game, right? It's intended to be like a simple game which has complicated. It's intended to create a lot of interesting gameplay experiences, right? Like I'm hoping that like you just add all these pieces, right? And there's like 30 pieces, but you kind of get this sort of exponential explosion where it's like number of pieces, or it's like 2 to the number of pieces kind of spaceships you can build, something like that. So it does create a lot of complicated situations.
I also remember in the Kickstarter you guys were saying that you had plans for like different factions of ships. Is that what we're seeing here with the different colors, or is it like they're going to be completely different pieces altogether?
They do have different pieces. Yeah, so you saw the red faction, and then there's sort of green-blue faction. And they have like each of the factions has like a bunch of ships, and they're all built out of like a little palette of blocks. Like those red ships actually only have like about 10 blocks, I think, in their palette, and they have this kind of Penrose pentagonal symmetry. Yeah. So they have like pentagons, and then these quadrilaterals that are just the right angles to tile pentagons. And the blue guys have like their own system of blocks. They're kind of square a bit like the player, but yeah. So those are the factions. They have it's like they have all these blocks that are designed for them that they use in their ships, and like, but you can't really access them as the player right now. But I think it would be cool to be able to access them, right?
Definitely.
At some point, it's like a whole nother set of blocks.
Oh, you can buy different
Careful.
ships.
Basically, when it comes to the game in its current state, how many objectives are there, or what's the amount of gameplay available?
I think, in terms of hours, like you can probably spend about like 10 or 15 hours, and then you've pretty much experienced all the content. You can just build more ships and you can fight agents. The intention is really that eventually it becomes like most of the content of the game is created by people sort of while they play the game. That's definitely the idea. There aren't like that many different kinds of objectives. Basically, you can reactivate stations that have been found that are in the world. There's a lot of stuff to destroy. Like there's a lot of kind of interesting procedurally generated areas. Like I think there's about 8 or 10 or something like about 10 different factions, and they all have like slightly different AI behaviors and and they have different sets of blocks and they have different kinds of weapons. So they're kind of different to fight against. And it procedurally generates environments for each of them that are kind of unique. You can mirror that block if you press down.
Yeah, that's actually.
If you want to be
figured that out too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're not rotationally symmetric. So the different faction regions are all different, and it kind of like the different faction regions get placed kind of next to each other, and it creates like a kind of interesting border. So you have some environment where like one faction is fighting another faction, and it's like different to try to exist in that border region because you have to fight against both factions.
Oh yeah.
You can try to conquer you can try to conquer things. That you can conquer the map, and that it requires you to like do things like deploy stations and spawn more spaceships.
Are you stacking engines or thrusters? What are you doing?
I want to see what's happening. So
I was gonna ask, is that like your favorite part of the game? Do you ever watch like streamers that are just playing the game to see the crazy things that they're doing with the game that you guys are designing?
Oh yeah, it's super fun. It's super fun. Like to watch people's screenshots and like watch all the spaceships, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I play the game myself, and I go find some agent, which is like a fleet of ships that someone else uploaded, and I'm like, it's just, you know, I just fly up to it, and suddenly you see all these ships that I've never seen before, and it's just super exciting. It can be a little frustrating to watch people play sometimes because like I'll like notice bugs that maybe they didn't notice, or maybe they did notice. And it just, you know, I have these like to-do lists with hundreds of items, and it's just like, it's fun to see what people build.
Mm-hmm. So another one I was interested in, I know that like this space station here spawns other ships. You can watch it building them. And is that like, do you control the resources that it does that with, or can you control what it's building?
You can control it a little bit because like it looks at all the ships that are on your fleet screen,
Mm-hmm.
And it will spawn those ships like sort of sometimes. It decides to build ships based on how many resources it has, so that you can bring resources to the station, and then the station will have more resources to spawn ships with. But the stations can of course collect their own resources, and AI ships will also bring resources to the stations. But if you fill up your build menu with ships, you'll see your ships getting spawned relatively frequently. I would like that's another one of the elements where it's like it seems like a simple game, but it's actually kind of complicated. Like where like you have this fairly simple ecosystem set up where there's these spaceships and they build blocks and they can collect resources and they can build more spaceships. But then suddenly you want to do all these things like control what kind of spaceships that station is spawning.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you can currently recruit spaceships and they'll kind of follow you around, and you can also spawn more spaceships and then they'll follow you around.
Okay.
But you don't have a lot of control over what the stations are doing. You're just like one of the guys, right? You can't really do anything that the AI can't do.
I like that. It's neat. It's a neat mentality. I like everything about this game is the neat mentality that's not what you'd expect out of a game. And it's beautiful that way.
For the currency in this, is it just meant to purchase pre-made ships, or what else is it for?
For the what?
The currency.
What are you doing?
Like the resources.
The resources.
Oh, the currency, the resources. Yeah. So you can use it for two things. You can increase your like point cap. So you currently have like 300 points that you can use to build ships with, and every block has like a point value associated with it. So you can increase that using your resources, and then you can also unlock new types of blocks. So it sort of aids you in building ever larger and more complicated ships.
Oh, cool.
So there's two kinds of resources. There's this sort of purple, which you're picking up in the world, and then there's this yellow sea credits. And you can bring the resources to your to friendly stations, and then they'll convert them into credits, and also use them to build spaceships, which is convenient if you're trying to conquer territory.
Mm-hmm. This is so neat. I'm having so much fun.
You can destroy everything.
Yes, you can.
Is there any thought of putting in a potential like local co-op?
Oh.
I don't know. No, I haven't spent too much time thinking about it. It's definitely much more possible to do something like that. I mean, than like networked multiplayer, which would be like a huge overhaul. I don't know. It would be interesting. I mean, you'd have to like have some kind of camera control that would allow people to. I'm not sure how that would work exactly, but it's definitely plausible. It wouldn't be a huge amount of work. It would be fun to be able to fight in just like a local multiplayer brawler kind of style way.
Definitely.
I would see it kind of working, yeah, just like you'd have it would be sort of like an arena shooter almost.
Yeah.
But that'd be fun because we were playing Terror Tech, which is a game where you build your own machine. And what you can do is that
in that one too.
you can actually it's local, but you can create a sumo wrestler basically.
Oh yeah.
And then you can build another one, get a friend to build another one, and then it automates the
Or
fighting.
pull them off Twitter.
Or load them off Twitter.
Yeah, that was an interesting one for sure. Woo! Ooh, I'm getting stuff. Okay.
Also,
I'm dead.
Is it solely keyboard and mouse, or can you do controller support on this?
It has controller support. Currently, you can fly the ship with the controller, but you can't really edit. You can't edit things with the controller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm planning to add that. I just haven't had time yet. But flying the ship works pretty well. I think the keyboard and mouse it was kind of designed for keyboard and mouse, and it's probably a little more precise than the controller.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit better with the keyboard and mouse.
Controller is not too bad though. I'm definitely going to keep working.
I have a third-party controller. It doesn't work well with some things.
We found out that we were trying to do occasionally multiplayer madness, and then we get to my place. We set up 4 controllers, and his doesn't work.
Yeah, it did not work.
Oh man, I don't understand why it's like so hard to program stuff for controllers. Like why there's so many kinds of controllers.
I know.
It seems like there should be like more straightforward way to do that. I guess I used a third party controller library, which seems to work great. I don't have any. I guess I've tested it with Xbox and PS4 controller.
Which is
been fairly painless, but
I really enjoy using my PS4 controllers. So that's what I should. Oh man, they're mean to me.
I think you just need to go along with the thought process that you've always had.
No, it's not Mad Cats.
You don't have enough guns.
Afterglow.
You need more guns.
Yeah.
Like way more.
Man
guns.
asks for guns. Man asks for guns. I can deliver on that.
You need to build a board cube.
A board cube, you say?
Yes.
That could be doable. Oh wait.
Like you're just thinking too much about like style.
You're right, sir.
When you just need a block with like guns everywhere.
Yep.
So
Where did you?
in all technicality, you can make a ship as large as you want, or is it limited?
There's no limit, but it's like pretty large. So you're limited right now. You're capped at 8,000p, which is about 20 times as much as your ship is using. Huh. I think you found a bug in the editor.
Oh yeah, that's okay. It was. We're famous on Average Giants for finding bugs, and there you go. That's your free bug from the Average Giants.
Yeah, courtesy,
and it's an easy one to pass.
Thank you. Yeah, the editor has been a huge amount of work. It has undo and it has copy and paste and stuff. I think I spent like several months working pretty much on just the editor. But yeah, you can build ships with I think there's a block cap, but it's like 20,000 blocks or something. It's really large. It's just to keep you from like basically completely lagging the game.
So if you have like an amazing computer, you can make some pretty fun stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, would
I mean, even
if you were to black hole something giant, like absolutely massive, and would it still go into another person's game and proceed to screw up their stuff?
Like the space cancer?
The space cancer. Yes, yes. There's very little validation checking actually. The server does make sure that you haven't like hacked the game. Like it validates the ship, so you can't you can't like just like mod the game to build infinitely powerful ships and then upload them. That won't work. But yeah, it's definitely pretty like the way that the like ship sharing thing works right now is a little bit. It's like really open, so you just like upload ships and then they just appear kind of randomly in other people's games. So you can very easily like just start playing the game and then just go fly into one of these agents, and suddenly there'll be this ship that's like 20 times bigger than your ship, and it'll just kill you instantly. Which I hope is hilarious.
I'd laugh.
Yeah.
I'd just be, what? Oh,
It'd be one of those Spaceballs moments where you're just flying along, I'll see, whoa, it just keeps going. I want to build one that's 2 blocks wide and 20,000 blocks long.
We did that in Space Engineers. If anybody wants to watch a fun YouTube series.
Oh.
It was called the Chicago footlong.
No, it was called the Jalopy actually, because it didn't drive very well.
Surprisingly, something that's really long doesn't turn very well.
There we go.
Yes, a lot of inertia.
There is your board cube, sir.
I don't know. I don't think it's big enough, but we'll try it out.
Hey, you need to upgrade your P.
Yeah. Oh.
So tiny, though.
Maybe I should rename that.
Hang on.
That's a little bit awkward.
Wait. What direction are we facing? Come on. There we go.
You should have put a
There we go.
front on it.
Ah! I put extra thrusters on the back so it went really fast. And that worked.
Oh, good.
It's all armor and engines from here.
So now you're finding something big.
Boom, there's bad guy, there he goes. There's bad guy, there he goes. Oh, those are auto fire. Oh, auto cannons, obviously.
See, I think what I would have to do is I would name it the Big Large Huge. And make sure that there will be no thrusters, only guns. Wait,
But then, if you get exploded, it takes a long time to get back, remember?
that's a minor technicality.
You can.
That's why the armor goes on the outside. The guns are on the inside.
No, you can totally do that though. Like, 'cause yes, you can. The guns have enough recoil that you can fly your ship with just guns.
Oh, good.
If
I
you're
was
careful.
wondering about that.
Use the right
Kinda
kind of
like,
guns.
the super fast tanks in Grand Theft
Auto. Oh yes, you were right. The board cube was the answer to my problem. Now I'm just like, who's got a fight in them? Because
See,
I will
that's
stomp
why
it out.
I think you should have added a couple more guns.
I can't. I'm at 299 out of 300p. I just need to get some stuff, and then I need to upgrade my resources.
Look at all that. Look at all that.
He thought he was gonna get stuck.
You have pretty many credits. I think you.
Should have enough credits to. Ooh,
Somebody just blew you
somebody
up?
just
What just
blew me up
happened?
good. I still had my core piece though, so we're good.
I just saw you disappear.
Yeah, I think you should have enough credits to upgrade something.
Okay, perfect. Then we will.
That's great. I love this.
Yeah, you can just call me the board
Wow.
of assembly from now on, I think, because that was really effective. I'm
You're
gonna
not a
continue
cube
with it.
anymore.
I will be.
You have to cube yourself. Be a cube.
I'm gonna 8-bit. I'm gonna 8-bit it.
You know, I just thought of something amazing. Has anybody decided to do pixel art?
I'm pretty sure the thoughts that we're having right now are exactly why this game is amazing.
I want to see a ship that looks exactly like 8-bit Super Mario.
Oh, I see. Boom, boom. Oh,
Is
yeah.
that possible? An 8-bit Super Mario.
For $30, you can make it possible with early access on Steam.
Stop! Stop! Stop telling me this stuff.
Okay, I want to design. Oh, I'm not going.
Try to buy a GoPro camera so I can be all professional. Trying to be professional parkour champion. I don't know what that means.
Oh, there you go. That's what okay, so I have 63 more that I can use, and you say we have not enough weapons.
Well, see, what I'm thinking is that you can move
That's a
that one block in the
consensus.
front forward, that center front block forward.
This one?
Yeah. forward one, and then put another gun there.
Sure. You know what? We should take your strategy from, what's it called? Oh, he's gonna kill me. Transcendence.
Transcendence.
And just put a bunch of auto cannons, so we won't even have to aim. Oh no, that's not auto cannons. Those are flat cannons.
Spray shot. What is that?
Is the plasma cannon? Oh, it probably says. Why am I?
Oh, you can bind any of your weapons to be point defense turrets if you want.
Oh really? Ew.
So the flat cannons are good because they have explosive projectiles. But
Oh. We're just gonna get a lot of everything, I think, in the end here.
This is exciting.
Ooh, ooh. Actually, I'm just gonna move these
gun
back.
there too? What?
Shoot, because we're perfect.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll use this one.
So you just upgraded the weapons.
I just upgraded the weapons. Sorry.
It's okay. I'll forgive you this time.
If you don't, I will Borg you
Borg me to death.
until you are dead.
I'll be Borged.
As the Borg do. Oh yeah.
Spray
Bring
it, man. Spray it. Ow.
This is beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted out of this game.
See,
Whoa. Okay.
this almost reminds me of Geometry Wars occasionally.
Do you know the third one just came out, by the way? Just random aside.
What?
Geometry Wars 3 is on Steam.
I think I played the first one once.
Yep.
While I was working at Best Buy.
So, actually, one thing I wanted to touch on while we have you on the line is the soundtrack. Because that was another one of the neat things in Kickstarter. Because this is all music done specifically for the game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That's true. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to ask, like, who is the composer? Like, how'd you guys meet? Or was he inspired to do the soundtrack?
Yeah, so his name is Peter Brown, and his musician name is Peaks. And I met him, I guess my sister went to music school, so I knew a lot of musicians. And I just liked his style of music a lot, and I think it was like, he was making this music, and it sounded pretty much like exactly like what I wanted for the game anyway.
That's perfect.
So I just commissioned him to make more music for the game, and I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it's very thematic, is what I want to say.
Spacey.
Fly nearest
See.
diamond. Oh, okay.
So the next thing you gotta try is you can see how that space station is, right? Where it's like cube shaped. So what you do is that
Sweet.
you make it so that it's a hollow cube.
But look, this space station is building itself.
That's just debris. There used to be a space station there, but it got destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we found the one just north of it, and it's like pulling stuff in and then making ships out of the stuff.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I think you better destroy it.
My own station? Okay. No. It's beautiful.
It's competition.
I'm kind of liking these flat cannons, because when they do hit, yeah, the explosives are nice.
They're extremely good against unshielded enemies, especially small ones.
Oh boy, that is not a small
That
one.
is a big one.
Oh, I just had the feeling in Spore, actually, when you're chasing somebody down and then something 3 times as big as you comes out, and you're
Wait
like...
till my big brother shows up.
Yeah. You're like, well, I'm out of here.
That was good while it lasted. Oh, jeez.
Oh, and the Borg is alive. Yes.
Barely.
Yes.
But at what cost?
We'll see.
Man.
Ooh, look at me just ripping him apart. Don't
He's
stop
ripping
now.
you up, son.
Don't stop now.
Oh,
Yeah, I killed him.
nice.
I can't even carry that many resources back in one go.
He has so much reason.
Oh, that's why I need the containers. I get it now.
The Cube of Doom seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, that thing was huge compared to... Hey, don't take my resources, sir. Hey!
As you can see, there are space pirates.
Yeah,
Actually, they'd be like space...
like scavengers.
leeches. Space
Yeah.
leeches.
Taking my work. Oh dear. Oh man.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
It's not very easy flying a cube in space, I gotta say. This is gorgeous. Where did my stuff go? You guys took my stuff, didn't you?
Wait, so you traded to the station, right?
Yeah.
And the station
No,
will give you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I went back. I went back to where I left that other stuff, but it was gone.
I see. That's sad.
But we have money.
So when did you first get the idea of this game in your brains?
It was a long time ago, probably. I think I built a bunch of spaceship games before this one. Not quite this complicated. Not like really complete like games like this one, but like little games.
You worked your way up, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I started like seriously planning it about 3 years ago. But I built a bunch of like sort of modular spaceship games, and I play all the modular spaceship games. I think there's a game called Captain Forever. It's like a Flash game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think they won they were in the IGF like in 2010 or something. And but anyway, that was the game that most directly inspired the building system.
Oh, cool.
When I played that game, it was like oh, this is what I needed. Now I can do it.
Cool.
It has a similar like block system.
I've heard of that one. I don't think I've played it though.
Well, I recommend it.
Or board.
You're starting to turn it into a diamond instead of a cube.
That's okay. It's still the
yeah,
Doom
it still
diamond.
has that shape.
Woo!
Weren't you going to add a container? Lady Infinity says.
I was thinking of container, but then I was thinking more guns.
Well, containers are free. You can just replace some of your whole blocks with containers.
Oh.
They have a bit less hit points, but the only thing you have to worry about is mass.
Oh, perfect. Oh, what are we shooting? Something.
You hit it and just blow up.
Yep. I just run into things now. I did see one of the upgrades that you can get is like swords. So is that one of the... Have you ever seen any of your players do that where they just make a ship that's meant to like ram into other ships to get rid of them?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, the proton swords are they're really, really short range, super powerful lasers, kind of like lightsabers, I guess.
Sweet.
And we had like during the Kickstarter, we were running these tournaments where people would submit their spaceships, and then the game would just like fly AI versus AI. So the only thing you could control was your spaceship design.
Oh, cool.
And one of the after like the third tournament or something, people had a pretty good idea about how to build competitive spaceships. And we saw a bunch of different archetypes. This is and one of the archetypes was like a really short range proton sword ship, which would like have tons and tons of thrusters and would try to close the distance as fast as possible. And then because the proton swords do like almost infinite damage, so if you can just get within range, it's all over.
Well, we're gonna have to put one of those on the cube. Yeah, one of those will be eventually on the cube. That's for sure.
Definitely one of my favorite weapons. Like super fun to use because it's like it's so dramatic to get that close.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You have to like ram the enemy, and if you don't manage to kill them the first time,
that's
bad.
Dicey place to be.
The next vehicle name will be Car Ramrod.
Call me Car Ramrod.
Say Car Ramrod. Say Car Ramrod.
Some of the AI ships have like spikes and stuff too. You can't access them as the player yet, but probably someday.
Interesting. Oh man, I do find that mining lasers lasers in general are probably the thing that kill me the quickest.
Yeah, you can't dodge them, right?
Mm-hmm. No, not at all. What am I shooting at?
Sketch asks if it can be had on Steam.
The game? Yes.
Yeah, it's on Steam Early Access. Here,
Yeah.
I can paste a link.
And I'll re-link it so people can click on it.
That'd be lovely. I love how well it runs, which I assume is a conscious choice because, again, the game has no textures. So there's nothing to
It makes
render
something
there.
look incredibly cool without having it overwhelm
Yeah.
the system.
It gives it a very simplistic kind of style that's unique to its own.
That's good. I did spend a lot of Oh no, I need to log in. I don't have a hitbox.
Oh yeah, right. Even if you toss the link in Skype, I can link it as well.
Did you experiment a lot with the types of like how things look, like how to animate everything before you came up with just going textureless?
Yes, a lot. A lot. Yeah, I mean, like especially. Yeah, I mean, so the sort of guiding philosophy of the graphics is that it should be like as the graphics should just be like kind of a visualization of the game simulation, as much as possible. Like I didn't want to have any like kind of detail in the graphics that wasn't like also like a thing you can interact with.
There we go. I've got the link right here.
Let's see if that works. I'm trying to sign in through Facebook.
No problem. I'm pretty sure I just
you got
linked it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. Thanks.
No problem.
But yeah. I mean, a lot of work has been put into optimizing it. It's still not. I mean, there's still situations where the game will definitely lag, at least on normal computers. If you have the wrong stuff in the environment.
Like space cancer.
Because yeah, like space cancer. I mean, just because like there can be so much stuff. It's just like collision detection when you have like 50,000 blocks. It's kind of hard to make that fast. But yeah, the graphics have been modified a lot. I mean, even like just if you look at the Kickstarter videos, you can see differences than what you're playing right now. Like the particles used to be a little bit more hard-edged.
Oof, the explosions are really pretty too.
Well, before you decided on the textureless graphics, what were you kind of thinking of initially?
Yeah. I think like I think I didn't really think it out. I didn't really think it through very well. Like this is my first like game that I'm like selling, right? And I didn't really fully understand what that entailed when I started. I was just like, oh my god, I want to make a spaceship game. There should be like, you know, plasma cannons and missile launchers and stuff. And I just programmed the plasma cannons and missile launchers. And you know, I gave them like really simple graphics. And then I just kind of added to it more and more. I guess that's pretty much how it happened.
I can respect that. No worries, Sketch.
Oh, you're like out off the map. You need to go back.
Yeah, I just checked that. I was like flying. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful space. I wonder where I am on the map. Oh,
it's so peaceful. Yeah.
Do things continue to spawn outside of the map zone, or no?
No. There's like a fixed map size, so it's procedurally generated within the fixed size. So,
otherwise it wouldn't run on anything.
Yeah, you can go through. But like it saves everything. Like the world is all persistent. So if you go back, it saves it. But if you go through a wormhole, it'll generate a new map.
Oh, cool.
Was there ever consideration that instead of flying out, like if you just infinitely fly in a direction, that it would do like a wrap around, so you end up back at the bottom of the map?
Yeah, it does do that with the map. So if you fly off, there's like a border kind of, but if you fly off the border, it'll eventually wrap.
Okay.
Because otherwise you could get stuck in deep space, which would be bad.
Yeah.
Which way am I going?
Yeah. I considered making it like infinitely scrolling, but I don't know. I think it's nice to have kind of a defined map area. It kind of it makes the individual locations a little bit more significant. You kind of have to find a path through the map.
Actually. That's what I was because you think of in the sense of like Minecraft, where you can literally go on forever. You could set up a place, but then you'd be like, oh, I'll probably never see it again. So it's not that important.
Very true. And then you get a sense too of like, if you conquer one zone, then you find a wormhole. You're going to be going, cool, I'm going to take all these resources and go to the next zone and conquer that one. And then it creates even like a reason for you to continue on. Gives it quite a bit of lasting value that way.
Yeah, I hope so. That's the idea.
Oh, man. The music in your Kickstarter completely got me, and now playing the game, it's even worse. So it's beautiful, this music.
Would you be offering the soundtrack for sale, too?
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So the musicians, Peter is actually writing a bunch more tracks, like because we got the Kickstarter got the stretch goal, which was like more music.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's writing like five more tracks. I think at least.
I was really excited.
So he's still working on it. But when it's ready, like which will be sometime before the game is released, then you'll definitely be able to buy the soundtrack separately.
What's the artist's name?
His name is Peter Brown, or Peaks, Peaks. He has some websites. Let me see if I can find.
SoundCloud or Bandcamp or whatever.
Yeah, I think he has all of those. He has another EP out, and I think he just released another one. Here, I'm gonna paste it into the Skype window. It's his website.
Yeah, because I'm interested in general, because this sounds like some really like this music you can get lost in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a super talented guy. It's been really fun to work with him because I don't know anything about music really, and he just kind of played the game a little bit and figured it out, and it works really well.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. It's very nice. It really, really, really caught me with the Kickstarter. So there we go.
It's super fun to watch him work too because he has all these like really cool like blinky lighted music devices.
Oh, yes.
Like an Ableton or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, like little like kind of drum machines and like these things with all the sliders and little knobs, hundreds of little knobs.
Oh. Ooh, these are pricey. Oh.
See.
You can get one.
What is that thing you just put on the front?
It's a drone launcher. I'm gonna get a bunch of them and just be like, drones, go!
I don't feel like doing anything. You guys, you know what to do. Eh.
You know what? We're just gonna get some more hull.
So, here's one thing that you want to look at. If you were to turn your ship, like rotate it counterclockwise, it almost looks like a Goomba now.
Huh?
I love my Goomba.
And you now have the Borgoomba.
Oh, it's like a skull almost.
The Goomborg.
I could see a skull in that. Like there's eyeball, and then teeth with the storage
The
things.
Skeletor. By the way,
Totally. It has a cute little hat.
Yeah.
Completely random thing. Did you see that Honda's Twitter got hacked by somebody and he turned it into a Skeletor feed?
Oh, God.
Is this like Honda, the car manufacturer?
Yeah, Honda, the car manufacturer.
Oh my god,
And
that's amazing.
Basically they changed the profile picture to a Skeletor action figure in front of a space screen with his arms up, and then started doing like random poses with his Skeletor action figure. Is amazing.
Ooh.
I don't know if they got their
Shoot the drone!
stuff back yet, but it was hilarious.
I shot the drone!
Wow.
What'd you do?
I shot
You
the
should-
drone out!
You should activate that station down there, I think.
Oh, I will. Yeah. Activating. Oh, I thought it was activated. There we go. There we go. So the blue ones are not activated, the green ones are activated.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna go and finish my job. But first I'm gonna kill things and shoot drones at them! Whee! That's so neat. Oh man, there is a whole cosmic war going on here. I haven't seen it build a new drone. So cool. Whoa!
There's
then
some
you just blow yourself
Spikes!
up.
Yep, spikes.
Yeah. Those guys are cool.
Yeah, that was neat. I was flying into it, I was like, I'm sure they're just leaves. They were not just leaves. That actually adds in an interesting challenge about like how to activate some stations. Because you've got to fly in there really.
Whoa!
Whoa! Okay. You guys can have the station. I don't need it.
You got scored.
Do not need. That was amazing. Oh, excuse me, sir. I'm stuck. Don't make me blow you up to get out of here. There we go. I'm gonna shoot a drone at you. Whoa. Whoa. You're eyeball-y. So, how has your community really helped you with building the game? Like, obviously on Kickstarter you guys were doing all the tournaments, that kind of thing. Do you find that it's easier to develop a game being in touch with your community base like that?
It's been hugely valuable to me. I mean, they're definitely like it definitely adds like stress and so on when there's like a lot of people. But it's like, you know, there's all these people that care about your game. Oh, the horror! My life is so painful, right? I mean, it's really valuable because it's really hard to see the game objectively, like having spent such a long time, like working with it myself, and other people like, I mean, people have just been like, yeah, I mean, like we have this forum and people just have written just like pages and pages of like really valuable specific feedback about things that worked, things that didn't work, and like, I mean, just watching people play it in general is really helpful. But like having people actually like think about it, analyze it, and, like, you know, it's intended to be this creative game, and it's intended to like allow people to create situations that I wouldn't have anticipated. And so watching people like try to build cool things with the building system, like it's just like impossible for me to really adequately test it, or really not just test it, but like to really understand it, even just like just thinking about it. I really need other people to experience it and like try to build cool spaceships and see what kind of spaceships are working and what kind of spaceships aren't working.
I think one of the coolest things that you guys have done is you've taken such a creative project, and rather than trying to rely on your own creativity, you are actually using that and utilizing it with your own audience to try and use their creativity to just make this creative project something even bigger than you were probably originally envisioning it.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think that's definitely the goal. Like, it's hard. It's like, you know, you create this video game and you're trying to share some kind of experience with people, right? And it's like, well, what kind of experience do I really enjoy? I like writing video games. And so it's like, you know, I felt like I wanted to share that kind of creative aspect with people, right? And you know, and like, I don't know, I was a, you know, just like a software engineer before this, and my tendency as a sort of human has always been to build tools and to like build systems that other people can build things with.
Interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't even realize it's 9:02.
Yeah.
It's already 9 o'clock.
Yep, that was an hour.
Wow. Arthur, I want to thank you being on the show. That went by so quickly. We would love to have you guys back, because obviously the game is in development, and I would love to be updated, you know, when you guys have big patches that are coming out, stuff like that. I'd love to hear back from you and just get you back in the show to maybe we'll be more creative next time than a square.
No, the square is the most creative thing ever.
That was a pretty good square.
It worked. It worked. I'm going to be playing this quite a bit in the future, I think, to try and develop maybe a non-square.
If I get a copy, I am going to actually attempt pixel art.
Cool.
I want a floating 8-bit Super Mario destroying things.
I want to see the floating 8-bit Super Mario Kingdom Empire.
Oh my god, you can have the whole fleet.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to see space stations like building 8-bit Peaches and 8-bit Marios and 8-bit Luigis, and them just like going off and destroying entire galaxies. That's what I'm envisioning from you right now.
That'd be so funny.
Especially when one of those randomly comes into somebody else's game.
You just see a Goomba.
It's like, oh my god.
It's like
it's a turtle shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's a blue turtle shell. No!
Okay. But
ideas are exploding now.
the creativity is coming. And that's the best part. If you guys want this game, make sure to check out Reassembly. It's on Steam Early Access right now. Pick it up. It's $30. When it launches, it's going to be $15. Though, honestly, I don't know why you're dropping the price. It's definitely worth $30. It's a beautiful game. I want to thank you again for being on the show, and hopefully we'll be seeing you in the future. And then everybody else in chat, thanks for joining us as always.
It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And from everybody here at IGM and everybody here at Average Giants, much love, guys. And I guess we'll see y'all next time.
For another amazing week of stuff.